You know what often makes a trip to Thailand truly unforgettable? It's the tour guide, right? They're the ones who bring the stories to life, who know the hidden spots, who really connect you to the culture. But what actually separates a professional guide from just some friendly person showing you around? Well, it turns out there's a whole rule book for that, and understanding it is your key to a much better and, frankly, a much safer trip.
So let's just start with that. It's a super practical question. You're standing there, maybe in front of the Grand Palace. It's busy, it's chaotic. How do you know for sure that the person leading your tour is a legitimate, licensed pro? The answer, as you're about to see, is a bigger deal than you might think, and it's all part of a system designed to look out for you. See, behind every great tour, there's a rulebook. There's this whole legal framework, a set of laws and regulations, and it's not just red tape for the sake of it. This rulebook is all about ensuring quality, safety, and professionalism in one of the biggest tourism hubs on the planet.
Okay, so at the very heart of this whole thing is the Tour Business and Guide Act of 2008. This is the big one. And to really get how it works, we first need to define the key players, according to the law itself.
First up, the tourist. And yep, that's you, that's us. The law basically says a tourist is anyone traveling for fun, for learning, for adventure, pretty much anything outside your normal routine. You are the person this entire system is built to protect. Next, you have the tour business. And the absolute key word here is licensed. This isn't just anybody with a van and a website. A legit tour business has to be registered, they have to be approved, which means they are accountable for everything they promise to deliver. And finally, the star of the show, the tour guide, or in Thai, the mukhatet. Now, the law is crystal clear here. A guide is a licensed professional. This is not a hobby. It's not a casual gig. It's a recognized profession with some seriously specific standards. So, what does it actually take to get that license? Yeah, becoming a guide isn't as simple as just being passionate about history and knowing your way around. It is a formal, pretty demanding path. Let's break down what it takes. The requirements are really strict, and for good reason. First off, it's a profession reserved for Thai citizens. You gotta be at least 18. And this is the big one. You need a specific university degree in tour guiding, or a certificate from an officially recognized training program. So it's not just what you know, but that you've been formally trained. And even after all that, you still have to pass a tough comprehensive exam to prove you've got the skills. So you can really boil that whole journey down to these 4 essential steps. It's this clear, structured process designed to make sure that anybody who's wearing that official license has met a really high bar. It's all about verification. Okay, so we know who they are and how they got there, but the rulebook also gets very specific about how they have to act. There is a formal code of conduct that every single licensed guide has to follow when they're on the job. And the expectations are really clear. On the one hand, a guide has to be punctual, professional, treat everyone equally, and be polite and respectful. Pretty standard stuff. But on the other hand, the rules explicitly forbid things like arguing with tourists, playing favorites, or complaining about their own personal problems. And here's a huge one. They are flat out prohibited from pushing you into certain shops just so they can get a commission.
And you can literally spot this professionalism. The rules even specify a dress code, a collared shirt, long pants, or proper skirt, and closed-toed shoes. But the most important part, they must always have their official guide license visible while they're working. That little card is your single best sign that you're with a real pro.
Now, the guide is the face of the tour for sure, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. The law also puts a ton of responsibility on the tour company itself, especially when it comes to your safety. So licensed companies, they can't just operate out of the back of a car. They need a real registered office. They are legally required to hire only licensed guides, no exceptions. They have to give you a clear itinerary with all the costs laid out right up front. And just like the guides, they are forbidden from forcing you into shopping stops for kickbacks. It's all about transparency and making sure they're accountable. Now, check this out. Here's a number that really drives home why using a licensed company is so important. 1 million baht. What could that possibly be for? It's for a mandatory accident insurance. Every single licensed tour company has to provide coverage of at least 1 million baht per tourist for death or permanent disability, and 500,000 for injuries. This is a massive safety net that you just do not get if you go with some random unofficial operator. It's a huge deal. So this rule book, it's got all these standards and protections. But what gives it its teeth? Well, the penalties. The system does not mess around with people who try to operate outside the lines. And when I say severe, I mean it. This isn't a slap on the wrist kind of situation. The consequences are designed to be a serious, serious deterrent to protect you, the tourist, and the integrity of the entire profession.
If a person gets caught acting as a tour guide without a license, the maximum fine is 100,000 baht.
And it's not just about the money. It can also come with up to a year in prison, or both. The message from the law is unmistakable. Tour guiding in Thailand is a protected professional career.
So we've talked a lot about the rule book, the structure, but the story of Thailand's tour guides is at the end of the day a human one. And lately, these professionals have been facing some challenges that no regulation could have ever prepared them for. This is a pretty shocking warning from the president of the Professional Tourist Guide Association. The pandemic didn't just put tourism on pause. It put the very existence of this career path in jeopardy for thousands of incredibly skilled people.
Just think about it. An estimated 35,000 guides had their jobs just vanish overnight. A lot of the most experienced guides, especially the ones with hard-to-find language skills like German or Spanish, they had to go find other jobs to survive, and a lot of them might never come back. And the recovery, it's not going to be a floodgate opening all at once. It's expected to be a slow trickle, starting with smaller, high-end tours, which just can't support the number of guides that were working before.
So this all brings us to one final, really important question. These guides, they're more than just people following a rule book. They are cultural ambassadors. They're the keepers of the stories. So as we all start getting back out there and exploring the world again, choosing to go with licensed guides and registered companies, well, it isn't just about following the rules. It's about actively supporting the very people who protect and share the soul of a place. So what is our role in making sure these vital people can thrive again?